Well, hello, everybody. This is Larry from the Blue Collar Nation podcast, and I am here again with my very influential business partner, Mr. Eric Sprague. How is that, Eric? How are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm doing great. I'm excited for today. I got called influential by you, so that's better than the other things that you usually call me. So I'm excited.
I went down a list earlier, and that's what I came up with. I didn't use my thesaurus, so we're styling.
Right.
So before we get into our show, I want to talk about our sponsor real quick, Morning Tech Meeting, which is a system for creating super technicians. Just like Wile E. Coyote was a super genius, we create super technicians.
That's right.
Through the Tech Whispering training. And the Tech Whisperer is the influential Mr. Sprague.
That's me.
Yeah. So anyway, go check out morningtechmeeting.com, put your name and your email address there, and we'll get you all kinds of information. So digressing to a wonderful show. We got some great guests here from RectorSeal. We're very excited. We have Jerry Myram, who is an on-demand product training at RectorSeal. And we have Natalie Perez, who is the official scorekeeper of keeping track of us today, which we're very happy to have them both with us.
That's right.
Natalie's lurking behind, making sure we're doing it right.
Yep, Natalie's keeping track of us, which we need sometimes, which is great.
Need all the time.
Yeah. So anyway, we're happy to have you guys here today. So Eric, take over. You
Thank
be
you.
the host of the show.
I'm the host.
You
awesome.
are the host.
Well, Jerry, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
RectorSeal is an awesome company, but before we get into how awesome RectorSeal is, we'd like to hear a little bit about you. Tell everybody about your background, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, well, thank you. I've been in the HVAC industry since 1993. Worked for a very good wholesale distributor up in the Dallas area, learned most of my stuff from them, and then worked for a couple of manufacturers. I worked for an insulation company called Certainty Manufacturing, duct liner, duct board, duct wrap. And then I went back into distribution and then worked in Denver, and then went to work for a very well-known HVAC chemicals company called New Calgon. And from 2007 until the very beginning of 2009. And then I've been with RectorSeal since 2010.
Wow.
Very excited. It's a company that's incredibly innovative in design, but I went from being just a sales guy from a wholesaler to being in the field with a manufacturer to really knowing my stuff with RectorSeal, with all the chemists and engineers that we have.
Yeah,
I've learned a lot from the company.
Yeah. So, so you moved around the country for work, it sounds like?
Yes. Yeah. I started in Dallas area, moved to Denver, Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
wholesale distribution, then worked for New Calgon. And so that was from 2004 until 2009, and been in Houston.
Yeah.
Old, humid, muggy, hot Houston since 2009.
Yeah, there you go. Everybody that we're friends with from Houston says exactly that right there. But then nobody leaves. They all stay.
Yeah.
So,
It's going to be too bad.
can't be too bad.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
No.
So, Jerry, what do you like to do outside of work? Like, what's your hobbies and your passions that aren't HVAC related?
Yeah. Well, been working in the yard a lot lately.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a necessity, but no, I like playing golf.
Oh, cool.
I'm a little too old now, I think, for basketball. I don't mind shooting hoops now and then, but yeah, golf is wonderful, and
Good.
just spending time with family.
Good for you.
Good for your mind.
Full disclosure from Larry and I, we're water damage guys, so we're not HVAC and plumbing guys. I mean, we know a lot, when we have most of our guests on, it's kind of from the residential service side. So we know a lot about providing residential service. So there's a lot to talk about for us, but we're heading a little bit out of our zone with you, and we're happy about that. You learn more when you're pushing your boundaries. So we're going to lean on you a little bit, Jerry, today when we talk about products. Okay. But why don't we get into the really interesting history of RectorSeal? Because when I was doing my research, I was really interested in how the company started. I think that's the coolest thing.
Yeah, you
Right.
guys have been around for a long time too, which is really pretty amazing.
Since 1937.
Yeah, it's quite a while.
Wow.
Yeah, as a family name called Rector, and they were into the drilling rigs. And these drilling rigs, these Christmas trees, they noticed that they would be leaking like crazy when drilling for oil. So a chemist with a company designed a sealant to help prevent all that leaking. And what's so funny, I remember a VP had told me this some time ago that for so many years, that sealant that we're using for those drilling rigs that was being used in other industries. I mean, it was a black gunky stuff that has been used in plumbing, but we didn't adapt until probably the 50s and 60s. And so then we came up with, RectorSeal 5 has just been a staple in the industry for us.
So is the
gotta
first
be a
one
robust
called
product.
RectorSeal #1?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do they still use it?
Oh, yes, they do. I mean, what's so amazing, and since you probably use the thread sealants, is
Yeah.
the stuff just never separates. But also, you get it on your hands or on your pants, you never get it off your pants. It doesn't harden, but it is always there, which you can imagine what it does when it's inside the threads.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
it stays there? It's flexible. It's a soft set, but yeah, so many new products we've ever came out with in the last 20, 30 years, people would say, well, yeah, they're the makers of RectorSeal 5.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so that it's like the cornerstone for us.
Yeah. And so what are the uses for, I know RectorSeal #5, it's your #1 product, right? Or it was
Yes.
for a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah,
So
it is.
what are the uses for that, for some
I
of the
have to
other
refer
guys?
to a chart. I mean, it works for everything except
Yeah.
for anything that's quite acidic or base product like or not hydrofluoric, hydraulic fluids. It would not be good for that. So we have specialized products for that. RectorSeal 5 is like, it covers the core of the industry. If you need a cold product, well, then we have RectorSeal 5 cold
Right.
or sub-zero. And then if you need something that doesn't have all the ASTM approvals and NSF, and you need it for something that's maybe just for black applications, you don't want the yellow on there, you don't want white or blue, well, then we have a product for that. Or even perhaps a wider diameter pipe, we have product for that as well. So yeah, I think we have 11 or 12 thread sealants, but
Wow.
RectorSeal 5 is like the core product. And just like everything else, you have needs within the industry. We developed an answer for that need with another product.
Right. So how did the company go about growing from starting in the oil fields to then moving into HVAC and plumbing? And I know you guys are doing electrical and fire stopping. And I mean, you
That's
guys
right.
have become very diverse. So
Right.
what did that look like?
Well, we did it through some incredibly smart acquisitions. And if we go back to perhaps 1990, we started out with we brought in Medicock, a fire stopping product, an intumescent that prevents fires or smoke spreading from one contained room going through, let's say there's a penetration through the wall. It could be a wall socket or it could be plumbing, electrical, but you now have to be able to prevent smoke from spreading if it's going to perhaps melt away whatever that penetrant is. So we have an intumescent, a product that expands and holds that fire and smoke for a 2-3 hour period. So Medicock was a big one. And the cornerstone of the company has been plumbing products with the thread sealants. And then we would buy other companies like a Tomcap or Stewart Hall to get us into HVAC.
Right.
Stewart Hall was a company up in New Haven, New York, that made the very first non-acid high foaming coil cleaner. And that is like the standard that everybody uses, is a non-acid high foaming coil cleaner to clean your condensing units.
Yeah.
And so we acquired them in 96 and acquired our biggest product that we sell at RectorSeal is going to be our condensate shutoff switches, safety switch. And we bought them in 2008.
Right.
So acquisitions have been the key.
Yeah. So how many, do you know how many employees and how many offices? And I mean, I know you're also a publicly traded company at this point too.
That's right. We're publicly traded. We have a company, our location. We had bought AirTech in August of 2011. And AirTech was a company that had locking refrigerant caps. We were wanting to take a huge step into the ductless mini split market, and they had so many of those. They had the first line set cover, Aspen pump, equipment mounting for VRV, VRF systems. And so they were our access into that market. And it is just, we've expanded those product lines ever so much since then.
Size of the company, employee
So
wise,
I think
roughly.
and we have a factory also in Australia. The one
Wow.
in Fall River, Massachusetts is AirTech's location. We moved the New Haven chemical factory to New Haven, Massachusetts. So I would say we have 200 plus employees.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's cool. So your big
That's
area.
a lot of lube. Yeah.
You're getting a flavor.
Natalie
Larry.
didn't
You're
get
getting a
me
flavor
there.
of Larry now, Jerry.
Thread sealant.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're going the wrong direction, Larry.
Translating here. Sorry.
So your main categories are HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and fire stop.
That's exactly right. Metacock is our big fire stopping product.
Okay. So do you want to maybe highlight a product from each one of those four areas or a couple products, so that guys can say, oh, I haven't tried that. Maybe I should, give it a shot.
Well, there's some products that they're well aware of, like No Corrode that we had bought years ago, and that company's been around 125 years, and that's a flux product. And but since 2011, and our focus has a very strong focus to get into everything that was an accessory item for ductless mini splits, whether it's a residential, multifamily, a VRV, VRF, big package systems for rooftop mounting. And we cover the condensate removal for that, the installation to make the ease of installing a product with that. We also have line sets, pre-insulated line sets. We partnered with a company in Japan that is the world's largest manufacturer of ductless mini split accessories. So we had brought over around 2010 the very first line set cover called Slim Duct. And that was introduced up into the Northeast. So much of the market up in the Northeast is our Slim Duct brand product. After having that for 2-3 years, we decided we could make a product that was slightly different in its offering as far as a line set cover, and introduced a product that we called Fortress. So it is different in how it looks, but it's available in 4 colors. Slim Duct is available in 3 colors. Slim Duct is one of our most popular products that we have. Safety Switch is our #1 product that we have of all the RectorSeal items. Metacock MC1000 is an incredibly popular intumescent, whether it's going to be in a 5-gallon container or it's going to be a small 10-ounce or 20-ounce tube. Okay. And we have even prepackaged pillows that can go into larger gaps for fire stopping. From plumbing, there's a product that we had bought called Glue-On Nozzle. And that is actually the nozzle, or people would call it cow's tongue. And people know what that means when you look at the side of the building and you have from the rooftop, you have condensation that's coming down. You want something to take that water away from the building to prevent growth. And so there are nozzles that are out there. The Glue-On nozzle was a design out of Phoenix, and we bought them around 2012. That was unique in that it was very hard to steal, because these things are made of a nickel brass, and it's worth some money, and they're very heavy. So what a good guy had designed in Phoenix is Glue-On nozzle, and it's a way to utilize the big pipe that's coming out of the building and put the sleeve on top of it, and then put the cow's tongue on top of it, the nozzle itself, that you are going to adhere, use a cement, and it's going to glue to the building itself that the pipe's coming out of. So it makes it much more difficult to steal.
Okay. Interesting. Well, I'm gonna, Jerry, I know we have an outline. I'm gonna switch something. So we're talking about products. So I'm gonna talk about the big idea before we get into training. So
Okay.
I know you guys have a really innovative program it's called the Big Idea, right? And
Yeah.
and why don't you explain that? Because I think in our kind of pre-podcast, that was one of the coolest things I've ever heard. You know, well, no, there's a lot of guys who come up with great ideas, but they can't fund or capitalize a new invention. You
That's
know,
exactly right.
so
Yeah. So where if you have a new idea, in fact, our safety switch that I told you about was designed by a contractor in Florida for contractors. And I say that about so many of our products, designed by a contractor for contractors. Our locking refrigerant cap called Novent. A contractor was having issues at this church in Southern California where these kids were huffing the refrigerant. Well, nobody knew about this huffing of refrigerant. And it was just a little Schrader valve. And they would just get the refrigerant, they'd get high. It was actually choking off the oxygen to the brain.
Oh my
And
gosh.
since then,
no
kids have been dying from huffing refrigerant. So there's a product out there designed by contractors for contractors that you have to use this particular key to get access to this little cap that protects that Schrader valve.
right, wow. So
So,
explain.
so if you want to submit an idea, you can go to our website and you can just fill out the form, kind of information we need to know, your name and email. Is there a prototype available? But what's important about the product is, does it have a potential how unique is the product? Is there any market share, or does it have a potential to get market share? And is it more regional or is it more national offering? So, because that's the products that we have are products that are incredibly unique, not a commodity product.
So how many products get submitted every year, roughly? Must be tons.
Oh, to us. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, like if I had an idea, Larry and I had an idea,
Yeah,
we put it in. Like, so how many people are doing that a year, and then how many are actually coming to fruition and becoming a product?
that's a good question. I'm sorry. I don't know that.
Okay,
No
it's a
idea.
lot, I assume,
Yes.
probably,
Yes.
but not that many probably make it all the way through.
Right.
Yeah. So, what's the process then? So let's say Larry and I came up with something we think is cool, right? And so we
Right.
submit it, and then RectorSeal thinks like, hey, this actually might have legs. This might, have some potential. What happens? Or maybe take a case study, like somebody, like how it goes from there.
Well, again, you would just go to our website and you complete the form, and then there'll be communication back and forth. The idea will be held in strictest confidence,
Mm-hmm.
totally private between the individual and us. And whether it's a patented or whether it's under patent or not.
Right. And then you guys end up working with that inventor, and you guys kind of bring it to market together.
Correct.
Under some sort of partnership agreement, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. Is there anybody else in the industry that's doing that? Or is it just you guys?
It's the only one that I know of.
Yeah. No, it's really good because most guys have so many good ideas, but then they don't have the means
Right.
Yeah.
or the
That sounds-
experience to take it to the next level, even though the base idea is excellent.
That's right. And we've had individuals within the company that have just come up with incredibly innovative ideas. That's just an expansion of our product. Like, for example, the safety switch, the SS1, SS2, SS3 are very popular. But then we expanded on that. We provided electronic devices that is some of the features that the core products have. But then we also added LED lighting to tell you, a switch is supposed to shut the water off if there's rising water. But by the time the contractor gets there, because the homeowner calls and says, my air conditioner's not working, contractor gets there, he has no idea. So we do a lot of focus groups. And when we came out with the electronics, in the focus groups, I said, we have no idea when we get there that, yes, there was a clog, but then the water goes down. Just like any clog, it starts out with slow moving water, but the water still drains. But they have no idea the next day the system's running, that it turns out it was a clog that shut the system down. So now we added this yellow LED light around 7 years ago to our electronic sensors that nobody has. And that came from input from our focus groups that we do with contractors throughout the country.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, speaking of that, let's get into training, because I know that, Jerry, that's your big thing, right? That's your main
Yes.
job, is training. So
That's right.
let's talk about some of the training that RectorSeal provides for people and how it works and what you're talking about. And I'll just let you run with this, because
Okay.
this is your baby.
So for the first 8 years with RectorSeal, I was a regional sales manager. I had the west half of the country, but I'm very passionate, and people can tell when I'm at the conventions that I just love talking about all the features. And because at that time I was the only regional in Houston where our corporate office is, that's where our chemists are and that's where our engineers are. And I would start asking about, well, why do we have this? What does this do? How's that different? And it really became easy for me to expand on that they wanted me to go from being a sales manager to, listen, this is something we would like to start beginning in 2019. Are you interested? And I said, yes.
Right.
And so that's what we do. We offer, since May or April of 2019, we've had it to where you can go to our website and select any of the classes. I believe we have 19 now, any of the 19 classes. And there's a time slot open between 7:30 to 4 p.m. start time, Central Standard Time.
Okay.
So they'll select the class, they'll see what time's available, and that class will be a live back and forth type class. I love back and forth between the audience and myself. And in fact, that's where I learned so many things, is all the questions I get from the audience.
So how many classes do you have a week? Or what do you, I mean, I could bring it up and take a look at it, but.
It's funny. And we had ran a promotion for April and May. And in April, because of this promotion, take 4 classes and we're going to put your name in a drawing. And so in the 22 business days, I had over 1,022 students.
Wow.
And I'm trying to remember how many classes that was. It was about 200 classes.
And how long is the average class?
They will last between, it could be as short as maybe 15, 18 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The longest class is our one NATE CEU class, which is our compressor starting problems. That's a kickstart, talking about the history of a 2-wire, how our 2-wire hard start kit's different from a 3-wire hard start kit, and also how to properly test a run capacitor, which is testing it while the system's running versus just shutting the system down. And so that we offer a 2-hour CEU NATE credit.
Right.
And all the HVAC contractors are looking where they can earn NATE credit in order to maintain their certification.
So do they have to take a quiz or a test at the end to get the credits, or just as long as they stay there? And
Right now, no, they don't.
Okay.
But that's coming soon.
Yeah.
I do need to have those questions.
Because
and we have another one coming for ductless mini splits is coming soon for a NATE credit as well.
Yeah. So, it's interesting. It's kind of really, you were ahead of the curve on the whole Corona distance learning thing. I mean, not on purpose, probably, but, it puts you in a good position, because like in our industry, all of a sudden, it used to be a hassle to send technicians away to get certified for like water damage technician, because you had airfare, hotel, per diem,
Right.
The guy misses, 2 days of traveling plus the class. And then when COVID hit, they just rushed, the whole industry rushed to do online video training. And I don't think it'll ever go back, because now all of a sudden more, as an owner, you can get more guys certified.
That's right.
Because you're doing it
it's
online.
More reasonably cost, it saves a lot of time.
Yeah.
I mean, meeting in person's nice, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to get the info.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
We have a very young, well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but we do have a young, quite imaginative vice president and not just the products that we now have. We have so many new products since he's been on board with us for almost 2 years, and having on-demand training and also have an inside sales team that's going to just support our outside sales reps that we have in the field.
Yeah.
And that's going to be so much availability to RectorSeal, and how can we help you, and how can we better inform you, our distributors, sales teams, the contractors, how can we help you sell our products?
Yeah.
And so having those on-demand training it was pretty innovative. And yeah, I'm glad you recognized that, because I thought the same thing, that
Yeah, it's
we've
really
already been doing this for 8 months.
Yeah, so even if other companies start doing it, you've already got a year's head start to work the kinks out and
Right.
figure things out. And no, I think it's really forward thinking, and I think it's going to benefit.
Yep.
It benefits everybody at the end of the day.
And that actually is a great compliment to our executive team to actually come up with these ideas, such as the on-demand training since 2019. So
yeah. So what's next? I mean, training wise, do you have stuff in the hopper that you can talk about, or?
we have new products that are coming out, and I'm looking at this list, and it's a pretty long list. And I haven't added these products because they're not currently available yet. Some of them are. We introduced a surge protective device that is totally different than what everyone else has already offered. And now we're adding 2 more products of that, of having a surge protector and a disconnect box, and both a 30 amp and 60 amp, fused and non-fused. And we have for our surge protective device, our RSH50, it's a lifetime product warranty that no one else can offer because they're using old technology.
Yeah.
So we are adding to that class, so about the RSH50 and 60, and our ductless mini split pumps. We're coming out with tank pumps, and also a new Aspen pump mini white that is technology that's really ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Speaking ahead of the curve, I want to go back a little bit to what we were talking about with the video training.
Yes.
I think also it's forward thinking, because technicians coming in are either millennial or Gen Z. They're used to companies that provide value, companies that provide training. That's what they want. They're
Right.
used to learning in a distance manner. They're used to, watching a video on their phone. Like, it's going to be the future.
Not out of their comfort zone at all.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I think
That's
it's
right.
why I'm sorry, I didn't want to backtrack, but I was thinking about it. I think it's really wise that you can provide them value, because they're the future owners too. They're the
That's
future managers, purchasing
Decision
agents.
makers.
Yeah.
That's right.
If you can get them now with all this video training, they're going to be loyal.
And I do get a lot of tech school instructors who are taking the class or asking more questions about the class offering in general. So we have always, even before on-demand training, reached out to those tech schools, because for the same thing you just said is exactly what we've been saying, is
Yeah.
to get them informed, let them know about these things, get these products in their hands before they get out into the field.
Yeah, we were talking with Ken Midget. He was like the plumbing instructor of the year last year nationwide for high school.
Yeah.
We had him on the podcast, and he was talking about how things need to be different. It can't be like 1966,
Right.
where it's like you learn by getting a pipe wrench thrown at your head.
Yeah.
Younger guys, they don't want that. And Larry and I were the guys getting pipe wrench thrown at our head, and we didn't like that either. I mean, nobody likes that.
Yeah.
He had an interesting point. He was like, you need to get those kids by 7th or 8th grade. And if you don't get them by then, they won't go in the trades.
Yep.
And, all the video training is a perfect mix for that age group.
Right.
To get in.
And we're recording these classes. I've recorded a lot of classes a couple months ago that we want to make it available, not just to our sales reps, but also to the distributors and to the contractors. And in fact, it's really having to get our reps to think out of the box, because I said, I know contractors we'll meet either on a weekly or once a month basis. It's going to be early in the morning. If it's 6:30 Eastern time, I'll be available. They like it if I'm in front of them and it's engaging between the two of us, but they know, the contractors know to if there's any new products or anything at all, they want to hear from the manufacturer. And that's what I'm opening myself up to is I want to do those early morning classes. I know that the good ones meet on a regular basis, and I want to get in front of those good ones.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? You know, Larry and I mean, our whole business is based around video training. You know, that's
Right.
what we do. And it's always the best companies who keep investing more.
That's
You
right.
know, the guys who need it the most generally don't.
Yeah.
But those good ones are saying, if I can just get a little more training, if I can just get my guy to know a little bit more, if I can just
Or
get
engaged.
Right.
yeah, then they know that those marginal gains, their companies just keep growing
Right.
because they're doing all those little things,
Right.
like taking your classes.
Well, I remember when I took a break off from college and I worked for a company called Zig Ziglar in Dallas area.
There you go.
We know his son, Tom.
Do you really?
Yep, we do.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's my age.
Yep, Tom's been on the podcast a couple times.
Oh, great.
Yep, he's awesome.
So I was working there. And so I know, yes, it's an investment in yourself. Same thing for the training. And the owners of those contracting companies, the surface companies, they know that their people have to portray themselves. They're reflecting the face of the company.
Yeah.
It's an investment to them, not just to inform them perhaps technically or a wider array of products, but also, frankly, how to present yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For the customer.
So you worked at Ziegler for a couple of years? That's awesome.
I took 1 year off from college, and some friends of ours from church, he was president, and then there was a vice president of the company. They went to our church, and construction took a really bad dive in '83. And so I went there and I said, well, Jerry, you can drive Zig around. You can do whatever we want you to do. So that's what I did.
That's awesome.
In 1984.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's amazing. And it's a small world that we both know Tom.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I never met Tom, but
okay.
This kid that I convinced them to go to this small school up in Iowa, he went to school with Tom and used to play golf with Tom as well. And,
yeah, Tom's supposed to be a pretty good golfer.
Yeah, we need to get out with him someday.
I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. He loves the golf. I know that. Well,
who doesn't?
Larry and I, when we're playing poorly, do not love the golf.
until I step foot on the fairway or in the trees.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Don't you have a cough button?
I do. I didn't hit it. Larry, why don't you ask a follow-up so I can hit the cough button and cough again, because I just breathed something in.
I think that's great. You got a little bit of history in the trades as well.
Yeah.
You know, and working with the Zieglers, I mean, they are big trainers of people, which makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
All right. Well, Jerry, any final, before we wrap this up, any final words from RectorSeal, like things that people, how to get a hold of you, how to get a hold of RectorSeal,
yeah, that would
just
be great.
how to buy it, whatever you want to.
Yeah, especially how to find your classes as well, because I think that's a huge value.
If you go to RectorSeal.com, at the home page, you go look straight down the middle, the very middle of that, it says, you know, to learn more about the classes, on-demand classes, and you'll see me, and you'll click on it and you'll see all the different classes. You click on a class and it'll give you all the available times and dates, whatever date works for you and time fits you, and see if that time is available.
Jerry, is there a cost to those classes, or?
No, I'm glad you brought that up. No, the classes are free.
Yeah, that free is the best price for every contractor, just so you know.
Right. I know.
Well, no, I mean, you provide value first to the classes, and then people buy your products. I mean, that's the idea.
I mean, it makes sense.
You know?
Yeah.
No, that's really cool that the company's spending so much time, energy, and resource to provide those classes for free for everybody.
Right. Yep.
So, okay. Well, everybody that's listening, go to the website, go see Jerry at class, learn something.
I'll put a link up there on the page.
Yeah, we'll put a link on the page.
So there'll be a
Yeah.
link to the
Excellent.
podcast page.
Anyway.
You'll be able to see exactly where to go. And yeah, that's wonderful. That's going to be a big value. I'm going to go and check one out too while I'm there. That sounds cool.
Yeah, Larry and we're going to go because we'll learn something. Anytime we can learn something, and I guarantee you we can use it somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, that'd be great.
Anyway.
Stump the teacher.
yeah, there you go. All right. Well, Jerry, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Natalie,
this is
how are we
fun.
doing?
Thank you very
Are we
much.
doing good, Natalie? Oh,
You
I see.
guys did a great job.
you're doing great. Wonderful. There we go.
Thanks, Natalie. We appreciate it. All right, Jerry. Well, thanks for your time. It was a
You're
pleasure
welcome,
having you
Folks, it
on.
was good
We'll have
having
to
you.
do it again.
Have a good day, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.